Well, speaking of racism, now we just have it out, out and proud in our parliament. So
Faruqi, the gift that keeps on giving.
Marine Faruqi, who is not Palestinian, she's Pakistani.
Pakistani, yeah.
Pakistani.
Now
it's Payman that's the Afghani.
Fatima Payman is Afghani. I think,
and she has dual citizenship, correct?
Well, she would. So you can't be in the parliament if you're not a citizen.
Yeah, no. So she hasn't renounced her Afghani citizenship.
She still hasn't. Actually, no. I think that's right because there's issues with her being able to do it now.
Yes. It's a bone of contention.
Yeah. So this is interesting to me because she's standing up. So Marine Faruqi is standing up defending the comments of Lydia Thorpe. Thank you. Who stood out in front of a crowd of rabid pro-Palestine protesters and said that she would burn down Parliament House. If I have to burn down Parliament House, I'm not here to make friends. Now, I will agree that is not an actual literal threat to commit an act of arson. I will also say that I was arrested and charged for the alleged crime of incitement for having said, hey, come along and make sure you peacefully engage in protest against the government's lockdowns. So if I'm going to get prosecuted and chased for 2.5 years, and they withdrew the charges, for those that don't know, they dropped the charges after 2.5 years, at the very next court appearance after Daniel Andrews resigned as Premier, by the way.
Yeah.
So they chased me for 2.5 years. He resigns, charges dropped. No apologies, no refunds for all the legal costs and the stress and the impact on my family. None of that. Because I said, hey, everybody, we need to exercise our human right, which is protected under the Victorian Charter of Human Rights and Responsibilities as well as international treaties, to engage in peaceful protest. Incitement charges for 2.5 years. Burn down Parliament House? Nothing. Now, I actually agree that she shouldn't be charged, right? I actually agree. That does not cross the threshold into a literal direct threat. Free speech applies. But the hypocrisy is too obvious.
It will if someone on the Liberal side said that.
Yeah,
that's the whole rules for thee, not for me. Do you know what we're in? We're in the Biden era of Australia.
You reckon?
Yeah, I do. This is like, remember 2020 and 2021 when Biden came in and wokeism was at its peak and you had like the cross-dressers as the guy with the nuclear, like, what was he in charge of? The guy that stole the suitcases?
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Like all these there's so many stupid stories. Oh. You had Jen Psaki and KJP as press secretary, and the whole thing was like literally being an upside down world.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like we are with Australian politics. But I didn't actually hear her quote. So I'm going to read her quote out.
Yeah.
So she was defending Lydia Thorpe and her comments. And this is from Marine. You would have thought that many of the coalition MPs and senators and Labor MPs and senators would perhaps understand the meaning of burning down the house, given that many of you white people in here claim English as your first language. You would actually know what this means. This is just full of hate.
Yeah, and so I've watched the video of how she says it, and she leans on the white people. That was intended to be a barb. That was intended to be a jibe. Now, she's protected under parliamentary privilege. She's saying that inside of our parliament. All's fair in love and war. The battle of ideas can be a brutal one. I've got no issue with her being allowed to say what she said.
This is how you treat people of colour. I'm not surprised you're ranting back at me.
I don't think that she should be punished for saying what she said, but we are allowed to notice what she said, and we are allowed to take that into account in future.
But this is this all stems back.
Sorry, can you bring that picture back? Because there's one last point I want to make.
Yeah.
Remember that. Nationals senators, was it? It was Jacinta Price
about
was
the Indians
told to remove an Australian flag.
Yes, she's wearing a Palestinian keffiyeh.
Not a flag, but very much a statement and a symbol in the same way that a flag.
I'm just curious. Has she talked at all about Hamas killing their own civilians?
Not as far as I'm aware.
No,
I didn't find that video.
She's wearing a keffiyeh, but she has not come out and condemned them literally brutalizing and just in front of everyone.
Yeah, the people represented by that non-flag flag are being murdered by their own criminal terrorist government, but she wants to stand up there and argue about what and
look, I'm not, just to be clear, in case anyone decides to clip this, and people will clip it anyway. I am not pro where we're going, but I understand this is taking us down a race war, and this is going to end ugly if it is not stemmed, stopped.
It's not too late, but the further down this pathway we go, where we are just obviously making different rules for different people based on their racial background.
Do you know what gets me about this is when you and I talk about immigration and we have our different viewpoints, you and I still consider good people, right?
Yeah.
When it gets to a point where people condemn people because of color, because of ethnicity, because of nationality, as a group, as opposed to the individual, that's a scary place. And this kind of rhetoric from the left is pushing more people down the NSN way.
Correct. That's exactly right. So she'll be right alongside Jacinta Allen as recruiter of the month for the NSN.
And this is the thing. So they come out saying, oh, it's terrible, the manosphere, white supremacy, neo-Nazis. You are literally, that speech, that rhetoric is cultivating it.
It's the same that feminism is the reason why Andrew Tate is where he is, right? This is when you tell people there is no place for you, which is what feminism has been telling young men. There is no context for you. There is no place for you. Anything that you actually enjoy or like or want to do or to be is automatically toxic. Then they go looking for someone that says, "Hey, welcome, come on in. You can be yourself here." And of course, they're going to find that in all sorts of different places, including many places that aren't ideal. We are escalating. We talked about when Obama was president, and the African American friends, the Black American friends of my wife and mine. We visited them in Tennessee, and the dad, who was a big Obama fan, point blank said racism got so much worse when Obama was the president. And he was pinning it, to be clear, he was pinning that on Obama. He wasn't saying, oh, our culture got more racist because we had a black president. He's saying Obama, the first black president, whipped up racism and made it a much bigger problem than it was before. And that's exactly what we're seeing with St. Vincent's. That's exactly what we're seeing with Marine Faruqi.
But this is going to be the exact same thing with all the other social justice issues. You know, you're going to bang on it to a point where nothing has meaning anymore. So if everything's racist, nothing's racist. If everything's Nazis, nothing's Nazis. And that's where we're going to head. We're going to head to a point where we have openly racist attacks and people will go,
Which is not where we want to be.
The boy who cried wolf. You know, and it's performative. And you say this all the time. It's meat for the base. Her base is going to be whipped up into a frenzy over that. She knows what she's doing. It's all deliberate.
She's playing to the real crazies amongst the Greens.
Well, wouldn't you know it? Back again, you could not help yourself, could you? I get it. I am absolutely ridiculously good looking. So you should probably go and subscribe. And whilst you're there, maybe shout us a coffee. I have to put up with this guy every week, twice a week, for you and your entertainment, much to my displeasure. But alas, I do it because I am a virtuous soul. And you're welcome. So please subscribe and tell other people to go watch because I need help.